Hi, my name is Brian Bridgeforth, and who's filming?
Marie Bridgeforth.
And we're Bridgeforth Design Studio. Every so often, we take the camera and go around the studio, the kind of work we've been doing this past few months, and just sort of freeze it in time, take a look at everything, and just have fun. This is just basically what this is. This is our area, I guess, where we do our sketching and drawing and concept sketches. About a week ago, we were at Tazewell Library, Tazewell, Virginia, and they invited us to their con, and at the con we actually drew and sketched superheroes and stuff for the kids. Well, I discovered these really cool Crayola markers to actually do concept work with. Of this paper, which is basically a matte finish photo paper, I guess that's what you call it. It's actually, the colors and stuff react really cool with it. So they're actually bright, intense, and things like that. So I've been doing a bunch of test drawings and stuff with this, and I guess this is one of the characters. This could be an alien or some sort of cool robot or something. I'm still working on it, but it's fun just sort of sketching it out and testing the markers and paper. Over here are more tests and sketches, concept drawings. At the con we did everything from a transformer looking Spider-Man, and again just testing out the markers on the paper. That could be maybe some sort of concept for a transformer looking thing later on. Shapes, objects. Over here more of the same thing, robots and Iron Man if he transformed into a car, what that would look like. I sketch pretty often, and again it's just sort of as well as testing out material. These are cardboard backing panels, and I found out that these are really good for, they give them in comic books. And when you get bags and boards, they're actually boards that come with it, but they're really great as far as sketching with the markers. This is some sort of robotic thingy I'm working on, sort of alien kind of influence. I found it really cool sometimes to sort of sketch to scale. So if something is 6 or 7 foot tall, well, get out a piece of paper and sort of sketch it to that height. Over here, again, we have some of our Photoshop work, digital painting, if you call it. A little bit of everything from freehand stuff like the Superman, Captain America. The great thing about this is I can design and paint Captain America one time and put them onto different backgrounds. That's really the main reason why we use Photoshops and things like that to digitally draw with. The bat concept, something I worked on a bunch of years ago. This is a design for the Batmobile, if you could actually climb walls, and it was this sort of weird organic shape with just stealth panels. These are concepts for another project we're working on in the future. These are some building concepts, quick Photoshop renderings, as in open up a sheet of black paper and sort of like if you're doing, I think they used to call it velvet painting, where you actually just took white and light colors and sort of out of the black bring out shapes. Over here, 3D work, Unreal Engine. We still use that sometimes as far as for 3D environments and rendering when we have to have someone walk through an area. That's real handy. These are some zebra sculptures that we worked on years ago. We have a bunch of brand new stuff, so we're actually going to change all these walls over pretty soon. So we went to see Thor, and I was really disappointed with the Frost Giants designs, although the movie was great. But instead of being so frustrated and talking crap about it, we actually came home and modeled our own designs. So that's sort of ideas for Frost Giants. Over here, we have some of the hip-hop influenced stuff, which I really love, and sort of going to be working on projects like that in the future. But this is Funky Element Robots. They have a whole story. These are like gods from Africa. And of course, my dragoons, I'm still working on those. This is something that we first sketched out on the Lynn Haven Pier. We were on a fishing trip and we were drawing pirates, and I think this is when the first Pirate of the Caribbean movie came out. So people were sort of knocking out against my arms and stuff like that, and actually formed all these really cool, weird shapes. So we decided to keep it with it. Picture of my wife and I, of course. You know, she's a pretty one. This is from Nelson Whitaker. He actually does work and 3D work for PlanetSide, and he has his own store. Very talented young artist. His brother Arvell is very talented. A whole group of brothers, you know, incredible artists. Excited about working with him again. Over there in the corner, we have some 3D environments, sort of Photoshop renderings, where we take everything from photographs to painted objects and sort of just see what happens. They're very spontaneous, nothing's really planned. Another example of how we use Photoshop, the bottom panel there is a drawing of the samurai. We took the drawing, put it into the computer, and actually came out with 2 different versions of it. last but not least over here, oh yeah, this is the rack for Rhythm and Roots. I think this was a couple years ago, right, Marie?
Yes.
We did these. We just basically took in a concept as in, if the music hit the roots, what would actually grow from the roots itself? And so everything from the musicians to animals and stuff like that. This is one of the Darling Boys from the Andy Griffith Show. I think this was like 8 foot by 6 foot drawing or something we've done. But you know, we just made prints and painting. Was it painting, right?
Yes,
oh, okay. So this one is really neat. I love when Marie and I work together doing stuff like this, where we're combining drawing, painting, markers, a little bit of everything to come up with something or an idea or a concept. But that weekend was a lot of fun.
Explain these large drawings on the wall.
What, the ones behind here?
Yeah, in the Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I talked about the Spider-Man already.
No, this one.
Oh, this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I worked at a place called General Foam Plastics for a bunch of years. A lot of cool people. And what I used to do, sometimes you get frustrated and whatever, it's either the computer or something went down or whatever. But out in their area, their R&D area, they had this huge drawing table where I could actually wrote out an 8 foot by 4 foot drawing or something like that, even bigger. And on my lunch break, I used to just go out there and draw superheroes and relieve stress. So I think I did a total of 3, and I think that's the only one that survived as a Spider-Man. So, okay, I thought that's what you were talking
Back here?
about. Oh yeah, back here, these were done a bunch of years ago, and this is actually the Samurai, but I wanted to do a drawing, take the drawing, scan it into the computer, plot it out, and then actually airbrush it live using just black and white paint. So I actually I think it was Hobbytown, USA. My friend Dan told me about, well, they wanted an artist to come out there and airbrush for them. And that was really cool. They gave me a free water airbrush, which was incredible. And all I had to do was go out there and paint and have fun that day. So I think there's a YouTube video of it or something like that. But this was a lot of fun.
Can you raise the...
And that's actually the Samurai in the previous panel. Let's see, this is where you do this.
Just raise it, don't take it all the way.
Okay, well, let's see. Yeah, here we go. That's Kratos and the Beastie kind of thing. I got lucky with that one. I actually put it into the computer, colored it, and sent it to PlayStation Magazine, and actually won Art of the Month or something like that. They never sent me a game, so if they ever see this, hey, you owe me a game. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Let me hang this back up here.
And this acrylic painting here in the corner?
Let's see. Oh yeah, this was part of our Bristol toy series we did for Christmas. So we came up with this fictional idea of a famous guy here in Bristol, was a toy maker that actually created toys that came to life. And the thing is that we discovered some drawings that he had, some concept art of it. And so we sort of, I mean, it could have been 10 or 12 or even more little character drawings we did, but we wanted, like, they were on parchment paper or something like that. But that was fun to do for Christmas. I think that's the only one left. And now,
on the walls here?
Oh, on the walls here, this is from A Western Tale. These were quick black and white concept sketches for characters. Mr. C.R. Blevins, Clint, my man, we're still doing tons of work for him. And right now, this is Western Tale. I think we still have a ton more drawings of this. We're hopefully putting together an art book for later on in the future. But
okay, and the oil paintings on the wall here?
Oh, okay. We got a commission. A few, about a month ago, something like that, to do a triptych painting, and this guy wanted this thing to be huge. And Marie and I, it's been a bunch of years since the last time we've oil painted, and when we first got together, that's what we did. So these are sort of sketches to sort of relearn if there's a such thing on how to oil paint. So we started out with the small panels first, and another thing we do also for concept work is that we'll actually use painting instead of using Photoshop to interpret an oil painting or to sort of reproduce something. Well, sometimes it's a little bit easier to actually grab oil paint and start painting on it. So all of these were sort of concept sketches at first. Once we got the commission, the gentleman wanted dragons and stuff like that. So Marie and I worked on the dragon series together, sort of to come up with ideas on, well, what technique could we use to do this painting? And so dragons, landscapes, castles, all of that was part of his elements. For fun, we actually did this big one here of The Legend of Zelda, Link. One of the great moments in the game is when you discover this really cool treasure chest, but we wanted to do a little bit more of a sort of an old master sort of feel to it, other than the cartoony version of it. But yeah, this is this oil painting section here.
Let me get a good picture, zoom in on Link here. So we have a very sci-fi feel to these oil paintings, not just landscapes, correct?
Yeah, we wanted fantasy, sort of, it's really neat, as in a lot of the concept designers and especially guys who do the Photoshop paintings are influenced by the Renaissance guys and a little bit later, even Bierstadt and Church, some of the Hudson Valley guys. It's neat to actually use some of those guys using the new mediums to influence our paintings, which we're using an old technique with, as in oil. So it's kind of neat, but doing fantasy, sci-fi settings and stuff like that, that's just a lot of fun. Last but not least, this is the finished triptych that we worked on. Again, the pieces at the top, the skyrim looking piece here, and the graveyard piece here. These were sort of practice things that we worked on. We've never done one of these before, so it's a lot of things to sort of test out, as in how far can you spread the paintings away and still look like one unit. And again, working out things like how we're going to do the clouds, the sky, fog, trees, grass, etc., etc. Here, water, in case we wanted to bring water into the elements. Again, distant trees, distant clouds, turbulence. So these were really good practice for this big one here. And again, he wanted to tell a story about a damsel in distress, and he's a knight, and he sort of fights off this huge dragon, and then he saves the love of his life, and they both reunite at the end. So again, it was a pretty complex and complicated painting, but it was a lot of fun. So here, again, to show, turbulence and tension, we actually had one of the towers collapsing. So the dragon's tail is actually right here, actually tearing the whole thing apart. And again, there's fire and stuff like that. And, she's sort of trapped on these columns here. Here, the hero rescues the dragon, or rescues her by fighting the dragon. So here we wanted, confrontational. We wanted the dragon about to fire up some fire. And again, he's actually broke away part of the castle floor. So you see that sort of crumbling. Again, just to create tension. The sky, we wanted the sky pretty dark and turbulent, but red, lit up with fire, like the whole area has been engulfed with it. And here is the panel where the hero actually rescues the girl. And so again, we wanted a moment where it's really personal, really intimate, kind of thing. And again, they all go off to the castle and live happily ever after.
And this is also the customer, isn't it?
Yeah, this is actually a self-portrait of the customer, or a portrait of the customer, I'm sorry. But I thought it was really cool that he wanted to be in the painting, and that's one thing about doing these kind of paintings, as in, for your living rooms and stuff like that, your man or woman caves. It's nice to have you in the scene, to have you fighting dragons and saving the day. And again, this is oil paint, so this can go for generations and generations and generations and actually keep the colors and stuff like that. So this was a ton of fun to do. Again, learning moments from everything. Every time we paint or draw together, we learn things. And again, Marie, with all the detailing, once we get the images sort of laid out, and if I didn't say it, I need to say it, always say it, is that we work on everything together. Everything from laying out the design to painting the designs, and then we sort of take off and then put our own things onto it. Marie's attention to detail is incredible. She actually has the patience to do all the scales and all the bricks and stuff like that, which I don't have. But it's great because she'll work on it for a while, and then I'll come in and I'll be surprised. It's like looking at the painting anew again. So I think that's just really cool. But we've been working that way for years, and everything in the studio is either art directed or worked on by both of us together. So I have projects where I'm actually doing drawing, but Marie's directing the project, and vice versa sometimes. Everyone, we try to work to our strengths. It's just the two of us, and we don't have a bunch of elves in the back to come out at night and draw, so we have to be really efficient with the way we work. But I think that ends the tour. Thank you guys, and again for all the support, love, and from family and friends, and we're having a great time here. And again, more work and keep the projects coming in. Bye-bye.
Bye.